Hey, this is golf superstar Shooter McGavin here with Tiki and Tierney. I eat pieces of like these guys for breakfast, but you should watch the show anyway. Watch TikiandTierney.com.
Alrighty, Shooter. 40 minutes past the hour. Tiki and Tierney show here on CBS Sports Radio. Brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. When it's time to replace your battery, trust the pros at O'Reilly Auto Parts to help you choose a superstar battery that's a perfect fit for your vehicle. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. We're pretty pumped up. Got a pro golfer in studio. And a guy who's got the green jacket as well. Back in 2003, Mike Weir. And I say little with quotes and all due respect, a little lefty, but he could pound it, and he's making the transition to the broadcast booth. Mike, how are you, man?
I'm doing good, thanks.
Good to meet up. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
So is the transition, are you officially done playing competitive guy? I would hope not.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
No, I'm not. I'm just testing the waters a little bit, and this is going to be new for me, to be at an event where I did a little bit for TSN at the Masters this year after my golf, because I played the Masters, but this is the first one that, I'm actually not playing. So, to be seen, and, it'll be fun. It'll actually be fun to follow the guys, and hopefully I can bring a little different perspective since I've been still involved and still playing.
Now, BT mentioned that you won a Masters, and then you lost your game a little bit, and it made us kind of feel good.
We talk about golf all
hey,
the time,
man,
Mike.
we talk about golf
We
all
really
the time,
do.
and our swings suck because it's not repeatable. We were talking before you came on air. You started golf, I don't want to say late because 13 is not late, but later than some.
Yeah.
And we're trying to get a little lesson here, we as like hack weekend golfers, is that common to not be able to find your swing on tour? Because I used to go to a lot of these Pro-Am events, and I'd see these guys, you guys, never miss a swing. I'd sit on the range, and you guys swap. Every shot just looks perfect. Yeah. How do you lose your swing?
Yeah, I mean, it is. Like when you watch on TV, they're showing the guys that are playing the best. The rest of us are working hard on our swings, trying to fine-tune. And I think the standard that we set for ourselves, it might look perfect on the range, and it might be a good shot down the middle, but we know when it's just slightly off and it's mishit maybe a little bit, and the margin for error on the PGA Tour is so small. So a slightly mishit shot, a little extra curve on the ball is the big difference from being in the rough or being in the middle of fairway to a firm green where you got to get the ball in the air, and if you hit a little thin, it doesn't get out high enough, so that ball runs off the back of the green. So we become more precise, and that's where that's where we're trying to fine-tune it, I guess, a little bit more.
Well, you're not old. You're 46 years old, and you look much younger, by the way.
Yeah.
In great shape. How do you get it back?
Well, yeah, it's a lot of hard work. Finding the thing, like for me, and I've struggled with that to try to get it back, but, finding the things that work for me, but at the same time, knowing that I'm 46, I'm not 26 anymore, and probably not as athletic as I used to be. And I used to really rely on my athleticism. And now that's, not quite there. So just fine-tuning the things that work for me, but yet at the same time, kind of with a new mindset, knowing that I probably don't hit it as long. And my game's always been about precision, hitting fairways, hitting greens, having a really good short game, obviously not being a big guy, hitting it long. So just finding that precision again, that's what's been off for me. I haven't been as consistent off the tee. And my ball striking's just been the struggle for me. So I'm still finding the right blend to get back there.
If this guy's got a Masters jacket is trying to find the swing, we're hopeless, man.
We are hopeless.
We have no shot.
We're never getting under 80 BT.
I broke 80 once, lefty.
I know, but not consistently.
That's true. I'm talking to Mike Weir, and Mike is in studio with us. Mike, before we get into Bolter's role, you played there back in 05. Phil won it. It's a tough course. It's a very unique finish with back-to-back par fives. We'll get to all that. But for our audience, I'm fascinated with the mind of a golfer because it's such solitude that the only thing that could really get in your way is your brain. Yep. Because for the most part, as you outlined, Boutique, the mechanics are ingrained through muscle memory. And I'm curious, and I know Tiki's gone through this as well, when we are at events and people are watching, you become paralyzed and you think about, all right, don't cast the club, don't come in too tight, instead of do this, it's always don't do this.
Don't rifle it into the crowd.
Don't worry burn it, don't shank it, don't top it. I've actually missed the ball. Don't miss it. Have you ever gotten to a point in a round, people watch, and an important round, I don't mean, some obscure event,
right,
where you're getting ready to address a ball and you're nervous, where you're like, I don't know where this ball's going to go. Does your head ever get that messy as a pro?
Yeah, I think at certain points, there's been certain times in my career when you're not as confident in your technique and your process and what you're doing. Yeah, those things start to creep in, And
that's got to be awful.
It's terrible because that ball is just sitting there, right? It's not a reaction sport like so many other sports where you're reacting to a player, reacting to a ball being thrown at you, whatever. That ball's sitting there. You have all the time to create the motion or to think as little or as much as you want. And sometimes you do think too much, and you start thinking about those things. And so yeah, that's the discipline of the game is to keep your mind calm and to especially in the heat when you're coming down on a Sunday in a tournament, especially in majors, to be able to block out those distractions and focus on what you want to have happen instead of what what could happen, what you don't want to have happen.
Now you talk about those major tournaments, and take me back to your Masters in 2003. Obviously, it was in a playoff against Lynn Matthias. What was that moment like? Because obviously, anyone who plays a sport, you want to get to the pinnacle, and the Masters obviously is the pinnacle. What's that moment like when you know you've won this unbelievable major?
Yeah, it's an incredible feeling. For me, I'd been really playing well early that year, won a couple times, so I had a lot of momentum going in. And that last day, I was in a really great mindset where I was able to block out everything, not get ahead of myself, and think about if I can par these last 3 holes or whatever to win the tournament. And I left myself a difficult putt on 18. I left myself an 8-foot par putt, and I was able to block out everything and just focus on the moment and see my line and see the ball, visualize the ball going in the hole, and let that putt go, and it went in. And then, the playoff hole, Len had a little trouble, and I was able to just 2-putt from about 12 feet to win. So that little tap-in, I was finally let my guard down. 4 days of mentally, staying in the moment, and then finally when I tapped in to win, it was just an incredible feeling.
Where's your green jacket now? What do you do with it?
Well, it stays at Augusta National. So
wait, you don't get a replica?
No, you get a replica. What? You get a replica of the trophy. So they have this beautiful.
Yeah, but you can't wear the trophy, Mike.
No, exactly. I would love to. Yeah, I know. It'd be great to have it.
Come on, it's so stiff out there to go. Those are the rules. These old timers.
You at least have your own jacket, right? It's not.
Yeah, I do have my own jacket, and the year you win, you get to keep it. You keep it with you for a year, and then so for me back in 2004 when I hosted the dinner the following year, after the dinner's over, they're like, Mr. Weir, jacket please. So you hand it back over.
The Secret Service
goes back in. Yeah.
Can you go get a replica somewhere? Can you go get I don't know, Zinnia or somebody to make you a replica jacket?
That's a good idea. I should do that, actually.
So Mike Weir is with us in studio. Mike, of course, doing a lot of work coming up this weekend. PGA Championship for Turner, CBS as well, so he's part of the team here. All right, let's get to the course itself. And from a strategic point of view, historically, while the PGA, Jason Day was minus 20 last year, he just took Whistling Straits down to its knees. Historically, Baltusrol plays tougher, and I'm curious, and I think this is amazing. As I said, the last 2 holes, back-to-back par 5s, the only par 5s on the course. Strategically, Mike, if you're a bomber off the tee, can you kind of keep that in your back pocket and know that I have a good-looking eagle? Maybe not on 17 as much as 18, and allow the medium and moderate hitters to kind of get themselves in trouble early? Is there a strategic advantage to that, the way the course plays out?
I think, probably coming down the stretch, and each day maybe for the long guys in particular, have that, kind of in your back pocket, knowing that if you're a couple over par or not playing your best, that you can maybe get those par 5s to finish and salvage the round. And then for the guys that are, if you find yourself in contention Sunday, the longer player is going to have a bit of an advantage coming into those last couple of holes, especially if it starts to firm up. And, we know that John Daly reached that green back in 2005.
With a 1-iron.
Yeah, amazing.
With a 1-iron. I saw the video last night on the Golf Channel.
Yeah,
because I didn't play I didn't watch golf back then. A 1-iron.
Yeah.
He reached it on a second shot.
Yeah, people forget how freakishly long he was.
You ever played with John?
Oh, yeah, I played a lot with him.
Is he cool?
Oh, yeah, he's cool. Totally cool.
Is he just rifling down cigarettes and chilling?
Yeah, he does.
Right?
He does that. He just stands up there and talk about, not thinking very much about technique. He just stands up there and
it just swings it.
He's got this beautiful tempo and rhythm, and he's always had that.
He's so supple for a big guy.
Yeah.
Like his flexibility is uncanny.
Yeah, it is. It
right?
is. And he's super talented.
Who do you think has an advantage going into Baltusrol this weekend? Obviously, Phil. And we love him in this studio. BT particularly calls him the People's Champ.
He's my man.
He hasn't won though since 13 back in the Open Championship, and he's been really inconsistent. Obviously, played fantastic in this past Open Championship. But who has the advantage? Is it the young kids who may be seeing this as for the first time at the PGA Championship here at Baltusrol, or is it someone who has more experience with this course? Because as you said, it is difficult, and it's going to be hot as heck this week out there in Springfield.
I think Phil of probably the veteran players, I won't say the older players, the veteran players, I think he might have the best chance, especially the way he played at the Open Championship. He's been working with a new coach down in San Diego for the last last bunch of months, and it seems to be coming together. His technique looked great at the PGA or at the Open Championship, so he could be obviously the good vibes of winning in 2005. But the way the game has evolved, the longer players really have a big advantage, and I think on this golf course in particular, some of the longer players, the Jason Days, the Dustin Johnsons.
Rory's pretty long, obviously.
Rory's long.
This kid, Jonathan Vegas, crushes the ball, too.
He hits it long. He had a great week last week. He hits it long and high, and that's kind of the new modern player, that guys who hit it long, they hit it very high, and now their short games are the match. Dustin Johnson, to me, at that the U.S. Open, that was probably the best driving I've ever seen.
Oh, my God.
Just hit,
What
carrying
about
the ball.
at Chambers Bay?
At Oakmont, where he won, a few weeks ago. The U.S. Open, and just the way he drove the ball there was just incredible. So if he has a driving week like that, he'll be tough to beat.
One thing I noticed, we're talking about Mike Weir is in studio. Mike, part of the Turner and CBS team now, is doing some TV this weekend for the PGA Championship. And Tiki and I were kicking this around yesterday, Mike, talking about Ken Griffey's Hall of Fame speech, how, and I know you're a big hockey fan, you probably played baseball or probably watched the Blue Jays, being a Canadian and proud of them, I would imagine, right?
Yep.
Okay.
No doubt.
You don't see very many unique golf swings now. It seems like everything's cookie cutter, everything is deciphered, angles, perfection, and coming from a guy who's lucky to break 100, I even noticed that there's a lack of creativity, like a lack of willingness to, like a Seve, who is renowned for his flair and ability to make up shots. That's missing from golf. Does that ever return? I feel like that's gone forever.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, I think there's, we have Bubba Watson, who hits the ball, who
I don't like
curves the ball.
Bubba Watson.
Who
I don't like
curves the
his
ball.
personality. I don't like him. I don't think you like him either.
because he yelled at his caddy once.
He never takes ownership of a loose shot. Come on, you hit it, Bubba. Not the schlum pumping your bag.
Right.
Yeah.
But he is very creative, and he can curve the ball, and he's the one player that really curves the ball around a lot. I think, with the technology that's out there in the game now, and guys using TrackMan and their coaches and video and sports psychologists and all the aspects of the game, that's kind of how the young players are taught now. And they're not just out there schlepping their own clubs around and hitting big hooks around trees and the stuff the way we kind of learned as in our generation. And I think the equipment has a big issue. The ball flies much straighter now. It's harder to curve, and the drivers, you can hit them a little bit now, and they go straighter, which is great for the game. Everybody enjoys it a little bit more. But I think there is maybe a little bit of creativity that can be lost in that.
There you go.
What do you think about the Olympics and the issues that some of the golfers have brought up? And a lot of them are skipping it.
Yeah. I mean, those are valid issues, I believe. I mean, I don't know. If I was a young guy and starting a family, I mean, those are things you got to think about and dig deep and research, and let alone the security issues and the stuff you see on the news. And I don't know. I mean, that'd be a tough call.
I wouldn't be going. We said the same thing.
We've talked
that'd
about
be
this.
a really tough call. I mean, you want to represent your country, and you feel proud to represent your country, but at the same time, your family's number one, and you got to keep your priorities in order. And so, yeah, that'd be a tough one.
Do you think golf should be an Olympic sport? Because it's one of those things. It's a trial. It's kind of a trial chance. This in Brazil. I think Rio was the wrong place to debut it. To be honest with you, because they don't love golf down there. But do you think it should be an Olympic sport, or is it just it's too benign? Because you're playing in the Masters, you're playing in the PGA Championship. You have major events every single year. Does it matter at the Olympics?
Right, and that's a great debate, because there are so many great tournaments now. We have the FedEx Cup playoffs with the major championships. But the game is growing more globally, so I know that Olympic committees look at sports that are growing globally, and golf, I feel like, is. Sometimes it's, we talk about it being stagnant here a little bit, but I think around the world it really is growing, especially in Asia, and in South America it's actually growing too. So, it's a great debate. So hopefully it actually comes off well, because I think in Japan the next time around it'll be really good. I was going to say, that would have been the place to debut it. Yeah, I think you're probably right, Tiki.
Mike, really good to meet you. Always enjoyed watching you. That little practice swing. You tried to, actually, I used to emulate it, because I used to play lefty. Now I play righty. Long story, I won't bore you with it, but always loved watching you play. Good luck with the TV. Obviously, Turner and CBS this weekend. Give us a name. Who's going to win real fast? Who's got it?
I say Dustin Johnson.
You going Dustin, a little DJ. All right, so he's taking the easy way out already in the broad. Nah, just kidding.
Don't enjoy your job too much, because that'll pull you off the tour, man.
Yeah, I know. No, I still want to play. I'm still passionate about the game.
No doubt. Mike Weir, quick break, hour 2 coming up next. Michael Jordan finally said something important. That's next.